Elena, being a hero, there is no higher calling. Your sister understood something about that.
I should have come back for you.
No. That's just a fairy tale.
I was in high school when the Avengers came. Kind of strange that it's all over now. No one's coming to save the day.
I think we are. We can be the ones that are coming.
But you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
Look, I've been where you are. The past doesn't go away. So you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it.
What's happening, YouTube? Look who I found. Someone who was my favorite person to do a movie review with last year. It's your girl, the Diva. When you need a diva, you don't call Anita Baker. You call Nita the Diva. Nita the Diva, how you doing?
What is going on, Lamont? Thank you for having me. Doing very well.
Pleasure is all mine, Nita. Like I said, you are one of my favorite people to review these movies with. And so I'm very, very interested to see how you felt about this superhero film that a lot of people don't know the Thunderbolts. They're not as mainstream.
Right.
Your son might know them, but like regular Marvel folks don't know them. So let me give an intro to who they are. Be sure to subscribe to Nita's channel, ladies and gentlemen. She puts out great stuff. Story was written by Eric Pearson, co-screenplay by Joanna Cole. The main characters, you all are familiar with Florence Pugh, who played Yelena, Black Widow's sister. Sebastian Stan, y'all love him. That's Bucky, the Winter Soldier. David Harbour, y'all love him in Stranger Things. He was the Red Guardian. Great value, Captain America, Wyatt Russell. Hannah Jones came in as Ava Starr, which is Ghost. Olga Karinsky, who played Taskmaster and Kick the Bucket. We all are very familiar with Miss Louis Dreyfus, who played Val. And then new to the scene, we got Lewis Pullman, who played Bob Sentry Void Reynolds. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what Nita the Diva thought about it. Give us your overall feel on the movie, Nita. When you seen it, probably not knowing about the Thunderbolts the way that a lot of us know it. How did you feel when you saw this movie?
Yeah, like you were saying when you were talking, I'm regular folks. I'm the folks that don't, I'm not a comic book reader. I am a Marvel stan as far as the movies go. So that's my, but as y'all know, after Endgame, Marvel kind of did this dip, and I have kind of lost a little faith in them. And so I kind of went in with like really, really low expectations, and I felt like I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like they have kind of like a handle on where they're trying to go. Like they're able to communicate that to us, that we feel like we know where we're going. So that's, you know, I felt kind of hopeful, and you know, I enjoyed it. I love deeper themes and meaning, not just a regular comic books, you know, adaptation where we're just doing the fighting and stuff. I love the theme of mental health and how everybody was dealing with their own little things. Life be life, and y'all, even for these superheroes, life just be life. And so I love that they added that element in there. If you didn't know that WandaVision was like one of those type of, like, I feel like they are delving into grief and the anti-hero, the person who you might think is a hero but not a hero. They're a little shady, they got little shades of gray and stuff like that, and I love that because it's not always cut and dry, it's not always black and white. I love that they're dabbling in the gray. So let me get off my soapbox.
Well, she's absolutely right. This movie did pick on one of the most mental health needed characters in Bob Sentry. In the comics, they kind of stay pretty true to form to who he was in the comics. His alter ego, almost as if he's bipolar, was the Void. And ladies and gentlemen, the introduction of this character is basically Marvel introducing to you their version of a more powerful Superman that has a dark side that likes to come out and play and take over. The best way I can say it is think of your conscience. When people think of their conscience, they think of the angel on one side, the devil on the other side, having a conversation, and on different situations, one or the other wins. And that's pretty much the Sentry. He has those conversations, and oftentimes the devil wins, and that devil is very damn OP powerful. Do you hear me? They didn't even get into all the power he can do, but look, they ain't getting there.
It blew my mind. I was like, oh, y'all doing this? Like, I had no idea that Sentry was going to be in the movie. So that was a total and complete shock to me. So I was scared. I was like, what is happening here? Like, this doesn't even add up. There's no balance. Like, so the only thing I can think that they're introducing Sentry into this universe is to combat against another big bad. We're trying to showcase the strength of whatever we have coming. So I feel like, I don't know. I don't see him lasting too long because while I do enjoy the backstory and what they gave him, he's just too. I think he's there to showcase it for somebody else, either Doom or they're trying to like match up strengths. And so, it just, other than that, like he is OC, OD, OC, I don't see how it works unless there's somebody else more powerful coming. That's it.
Well, Nita, closer to the end of this, we'll talk about the most powerful characters in the MCU closer to the end because I know the fans want to.
I don't know.
I know the fans want to talk. Well, no, I mean not in the comics, but in the MCU. So what we have seen so far, I know the fans want to have that debate because I think that y'all are forgetting there is one character that is still stronger than Sentry that could go. Well, I'm not going to say stronger, but that can go toe to toe with Sentry right now, and y'all forgot because y'all probably didn't like the particular piece of IP that we seen this character in. But we'll get there in a minute. So, Anita, if you didn't know Sentry was in the movie, who was you expecting to be the villain? Just Val?
Yes, so I didn't really see. And to me, I still don't really feel like he was the villain. I feel like he was almost like an anti-hero. Like I felt like he was still on the same playing field with the other ones, all the other losers. It's like, no, let me not call them losers.
Oh Lord, she called them losers.
The ragtag. The
great value Avengers.
Yes, the Timu Avengers.
Yeah, because they ain't even great value. They the Timu Avengers. Kato, be more careful, boy.
I feel like he's still, because at the end of the day, he still kind of had like his conscience. His conscience was still doing something. Like I didn't take him to be a villain like that. So, I think that's just the way they set the movie up. The movie was set up like that. So I think that's why I'm thinking that I didn't really call him the villain, although he handed their asses to them.
Handed it to him
was crazy.
Yeah, he whipped that ass in like 3 minutes, and then it was just so crazy in the scene we're talking about when they're in Avengers Tower, because Val has purchased Tony Stark's Avengers Tower, and she kept the bar that was used in the very first Avengers movie where he asked Loki to have a drink. That was the same bar. And after he whipped their ass, there was this kind of exchange and conversation that went on where she basically told him that he was stronger than all the Avengers, and the Avengers had a god on the team. Well, after Homeboy beat up the Timu Avengers, he started feeling himself. He started feeling him. He was
real fast.
I thought he was
happened like that, Lamont. I was like,
sis, I thought the nigga was tweeting that, feeling on himself, rubbing on himself, because he was like, if I'm a god, what do I need you for?
What we
Like just
doing?
like that. Like just like that. After she put him in that ugly ass outfit, which was very, very comic book accurate, but it was ugly as hell. Dyed his hair blonde because
And
the
dyed
white
his
people,
hair.
yes, the white people love blonde hair. I'm surprised she didn't dye his eyes blue to try to sell tickets and all that. She done all that. And she actually thought that the little bomb that they put in his head was going to kill him. Lady.
Should explain that to me, Lamont, because there was a fail safe that she put in there, but I'm trying to figure out how he bypassed it. Like,
He
is there
didn't
something
bypass.
else that we don't know?
Well, let me set the stage like this. He didn't per se bypass it because you saw her assistant, who is I forgot her name, Songbird, Ladybird, something like that, is the assistant, but they didn't show her powers in this movie. She hit the button, and what was going on was there was a thing they put in his brain, and it blew up part of his brain. But here's the problem: when Sentry broke out with the Temu Avengers, you see he went almost in space and came down on fire, crashed on the side of a mountain and blew it apart, and that didn't even kill him.
Oh yeah.
So if that didn't kill him, Val, what makes you think that a bomb inside his brain is going to kill him? If this dude is able to regenerate after falling that far, basically a nuclear bomb, he survived that, he damn sure going to survive an explosion in his head. And what that explosion did, it allowed the void to take over because Bob was not in control of his consciousness anymore. So that explosion was what allowed the void to come out and take over for a few minutes and start putting people in the menagerie that Wanda Scarlet Witch was putting people into. He's OP like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He tapped into that.
he tapped into that.
Yeah.
Now, you know, just to give you some of the comic book innuendos to kind of tie into the movie.
Okay.
That power that he's able to do when he's the void, it taps into so many things and makes it also makes other bad guys upset, ladies and gentlemen. So you've got Nightmare, who loves to go into people's subconsciousness and control them. You've already seen WandaVision do it on her series. And then you've got Mephisto, who loves to do these things. They all have problems with Sentry because he's more powerful than them in their world. And then ultimately, there was one bad guy that was able to kill Sentry. Nita, who do you think the bad guy was that was able to kill Sentry? I'll give you a hint. Can I give you a hint?
Yeah.
He created the God-killing weapon. And Thor, Love and Thunder, that sword was the God Killer sword. Who gave that sword to that particular character?
I think he's gone now, right?
He's gone, but we've never seen.
He played Thor and Loki's father, right? No.
Nope.
Not that one.
Nope. We've never seen the person in the MCU yet, but believe me, we're coming. Noel is the one who created the Necro sword, and Noel is the one that is where the symbiotes come from. He's the father of the symbiotes.
Okay.
And so
they mentioned him in one movie, just one. So I wasn't really familiar. So.
Right. Well, that's what you got me for. I'm here to help, you know. and getting back to this movie, and let's kind of talk about the things that we like. In the very beginning, they get to the action quick, and they go ahead and take out this female version of Taskmaster, which a lot of fans didn't like because they want the male version. And what happened was Val was trying to cover her valiant ass by having all these anti-heroes she's compiled take out each other so that the government won't send her to jail over this Project Sentry. So, Nita, how did you like the way the team met each other inside of a damn mountain trying to kill each other, and then was about to be incinerated, and then out pops Bob.
Just out of nowhere.
Hey, out pops Bob.
I thought they started out good with that action scene. I thought that was kind of clever. I think I think I'm just missing a little bit of context when we started getting real political. I feel like the movies just started getting political once we started talking about Captain America, Brave New World. We started, and then I'm like, why is Bucky a darn congressman? Like, when did that happen? Like, it's just crazy to me, but it feels like they're trying to go kind of push it in a different direction. Now, I had my own little theory. I was saying that it's probably because of the scrolls, because you remember the scrolls was taken over in certain places, and I was just like, but they kind of left that they have not hinted towards the scrolls, but I thought it had something to do with the scrolls. Hey, Tamika, I thought it had something to do with the scrolls, but anyway, I just enjoyed the scene. It felt like when they started this whole movie, the first 20 minutes, we feel like it's kind of Yelena. Like Yelena this is her movie. It's almost like a Black Widow Part 2. It's like I really love Florence Pugh. When I tell you she was eating up those emotional scenes, baby, when she was crying to her papa, and she really anchored this team. It was her that was coming up with putting things together, two and two together. She like, wait, so you came here to do this and I came here to do that, and so she's putting it all together. So I loved it. I loved the way it started out. It was a little shaky. It was a little shaky for me, but I enjoyed it. I saw what was going on, but I felt like there were a couple little different pieces in there that I was just like, oh, is this too much? Are we doing a little too much? I like the humor. I like the humor that they had. It wasn't too much. They didn't really overdo it. There was somebody in my theater that was laughing at every damn thing.
There's always one of them, Nita. There's always one. Like, them the kind of people you be like, damn, you'll laugh at any joke Kevin Hart to say. You just be when you go home, your damn jaw should be hurting because you just the whole damn time. Like,
I mean, and not just a chuckle, Lamont, like hearty laughs. I was just like, okay.
Well, like I said, there's always one of them in every theater. Comedy hits people different, so hey, do your thing. But I enjoyed the opening. I'm into politics and the way it affects everything, because if you don't get political, the politics will get your ass, and this is a culmination of what's going on, because Val basically has been the one that was running SHIELD behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, she was doing her SHIELD thing, and she was on the side of, we need a weapon to protect us in case the Avengers don't come back. But really what she was trying to do on the low, y'all, was create something to defeat the Avengers in case they went rogue, because let us not forget Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War, you had some people that felt like we needed a police state, and then you had Captain America and his group that felt like we needed to be free. And because she went rogue and kept doing these experiments and was killing everybody, and they was compiling dirt on her, and Bucky, they talked about him in this past Captain America with Anthony Mackie running for Congress, but they didn't say he was going to win or not. Well, apparently he done won. Since then, he done won with the time jump, and now he's trying to, win in policy instead of being on the battlefield, but he winds up getting sucked into the battlefield anyway. And so I enjoyed the scenes all the way to them getting out, and Bob just being Bob, and Bob calling Great Value Captain America an asshole. And I'm with you. I love Florence Pugh as the Black Widow. Like, we needed this from her, because if we are to put our hearts into a new Avengers group, somebody has got to be one of the first anchors to really get us involved and behind her character. And Florence Pugh nailed it. I love that voice she does. I love her toughness. I love her humor. I love her realness. The way Bob touched her hand, and we got to realize that he has these psychic powers, kind of like Professor X, took her back to one of the darkest moments of her life. And she realized it in that moment. She realized he was doing this. That's when she started saying, okay, this dude can do something. But she didn't really come out and say it. And what made you know that he was not a bad guy was that he sacrificed himself so that they could get away.
Right.
He did that. He did that for them. And that was all Yelena needed to know that he was a pretty decent dude. Yeah. And then we move on to the second act when they are on the run. They are on the run, and Yelena's daddy, Red Guardian, who was the comic relief for the movie, ladies and gentlemen. You didn't know, David Harbour, who played Red Guardian, he was the comic relief. He realized something wasn't right, Nita, so he came to save his daughter in the damn desert. And did you see that beat up limousine? That limousine had to be clearly from 1985. Right. Because when they was getting chased and they was like, you need to floor it, he literally pushed his foot through the floor like he was Barney Rubble, and the car won't going nowhere.
55.
It went to 55 and stopped.
Yeah, I did have a lot of good chuckles with him. He's just funny to me. But I mean, I didn't do like how the other people do him. But when I tell you, he does bring the levity, the lightheartedness that we need, because this was a dark movie. Let's not gloss over it. This movie did get dark. It went there. It did some things, baby. When they turned that little girl into a shadow, I said, "Oh no, not the babies!"
Oh, you got to get them. You got to get them. Like for me, being someone who's writing superhero scripts, I've been emboldened to make my shit real dark, because look at what we see with The Boys. Ain't nothing lighthearted about that, and it's on some levels, Nita, The Boys is more beloved than the last 6 years of the MCU. And being honest, and it ain't nothing but pure darkness, because a wise man once told me, in order to see the light, you got to experience the dark. And if you know how to write, when you make something really, really dark and you're coming out of it, it's a better ride for the audience when they finally do see the light. It's just that this one didn't really give us the ultimate seeing the light moment in this movie, but I'm sure they will later on when, Bob is going to have to really be Sentry to really kick some butt. But I love that second act, Nita, and I didn't see Bucky coming, so I was surprised by that. When I saw people getting taken out from the back, and David Harbour said that the limousine was bulletproof and great value, was like, no, the hell it ain't. And he had to use his beat up shield to protect them from bullets. I was like, how they about to get out of this? And then did you see the bravery of Yelena? She gets out Dukes of Hazzard style on the passenger side. One bullet blows a tire up. And then I'm like, okay, that was one. What about this other one? That's when Bucky popped up.
Right.
What did you think was going on when Bucky popped up?
That was a great scene. The only thing that I was kind of thrown aback about with Bucky hitting the limo as well. Like, I could see him doing the tanks and stuff, but when he hit the limo, I was like, well, what are we doing here, Bucky? So that was the only thing that kind of confused me with that or whatever. But I love that they are like, sending him to the rescue. He's jumping in when necessary and stuff like that. Even though he's done some bad things, he is still beloved to me. Like, I still have like a soft spot for Bucky, because at the end of the day, we know that he was being programmed. You know what I'm saying? It was something else, and it wasn't really him. To his core, he's a good person. So that's why I always have like this soft spot for him. But I was just sitting up here like, why is we blowing? What we doing to the limo? I was like, maybe he didn't know who was in there. Maybe he was just being kept. I don't know what. I didn't know the point of that. But
at that point, he was still under the assumption that they was wrong, because remember, Mel was feeding him all the intel. Songbird was feeding him all the intel.
Oh yeah,
and the only thing he knew was they had something to do with Bob, and Bob was bad at that point in time. until the next scene where he's got them all tied up, and Mel calls him. By the way, Mel does have a crush on Bucky, ladies and gentlemen.
For sure.
Mel is crushing on Bucky, and I wonder are they going to pay us off with that, because they mentioned she was talking about when she was in high school and the Avengers saved the town, and he was saying he was like 99 years old when that happened. Talk about a damn age gap, Shannon Sharp, for the white girl. Well, she ain't white, so I can't say that. But anyway, Mel, the team of Avengers was trying to tell Bucky, look, it's Bob and Val is crooked. And he was listening, but he didn't listen until Mel gave him a call and said, yeah, it's Bob. And so that's when David Harbour started getting real riled up. We're a team. We're superheroes. We are going to do this like the Avengers. How did you like that scene? Because it was funny to me, but then Yelena had to be negative Nancy, like we're all bad, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Yelena got to realize there is no squeaky clean human being.
Right.
None. Not me, not Nita, not my wife, not your baby daddy, not your son. There is no squeaky clean human. Now, some people's squeaky clean is better than others, depending upon the subject matter and how you view things. But there is no squeaky clean, and that's why I like how David Harbour was taking over the scene. Tell us how you felt with that scene.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love that they wrote these characters so gray, and it kind of reminds me of Julie, what's her name? Julie Louis Dreyfus, the lady.
Julia Louis Dreyfus, Contessa Valentina.
She reminds me of the Amanda Waller for the DC universe. So
right.
Just kind of like that whole thing, and like. And those characters, they're not all bad either. You know what I'm saying?
No.
And I love that they really kind of explored their redemption arcs, how they kind of got on the other side, how they worked through the things. I love the fact that David Harbour's character, Red Scorpion, he is a daddy to his core. Like, it's about family. It's like the things that are really true to them, really, I think they stuck to their characters. You know how sometimes you like, oh no, they didn't write that right. It didn't seem like this person would do that. I felt like David Harbour's character did exactly what he would do in Black Widow and all that stuff. And y'all don't have to watch all of these things or whatever, but just know that it's kind of true to his character. Like, he's always been like a Papa Bear. Like, he feels like he doesn't have any purpose without, bringing the family together. I love that about him. And, I love that him and Yelena was able to work through that hard. When I tell you Florence Pugh, baby, girl, she had me in there boo-hoo crying. And the way he showed up for her was just so magnificent, because a lot of men can't really get emotionally there in order to soothe a woman, their daughter, a wife, or they cannot do that. They can't access that part that's gonna, make them feel better. So just shout out to the writing, kudos to the writing and stuff like that. That was a very complex situation, and she was really struggling. And I love that they really fleshed that out for us.
Yeah, the downfall to what happened with them was there was a period in her life where she felt like daddy wasn't there. And a couple of wise people told me there's never a wrong time to finally do the right thing. There's never a wrong time to finally tell the truth. And life, you don't have to have your life be defined by your worst moments. Your life can be defined by your best moments. And even though he knew that he had that gap where he wasn't there for her, he's here now. Yeah. And in the most masculine way to exude that, he showed that, because when she went into that void, his ass was about to go in the void behind her. His ass was telling her, I'm not going anywhere. I am here for you. And he stayed there for her. And that's one way you can let somebody know when you've messed up that you got their back, by being there for them. And that's what he did. And I enjoyed that.
I love that.
And that'll bring us, Nita, to the big void fight. How did you like the way the void was snatching up bodies and getting dark? And The team eventually had to go into the void to get Yelena, who was so damn brave, because she had that connection with Bob.
Yeah.
She knew Bob was not bad.
Yeah.
And she had that connection with him, and the whole team went into the void to not only save her, but save Bob and save New York. How did you feel about the way they pulled that off?
Yeah, I love that. It was so unexpected. I had no idea. Like when I tell you my jaw was on the floor, I was like, what in the world is happening? Now me, I didn't know that there was more to the void until we saw it play out. And shout out to Yelena, but you already know that she kind of doesn't have any fear. It feels like she's just aimlessly just doing what she's supposed to do. She's being hired, she's a mercenary, she's doing these jobs, and she's just like walking aimlessly through. But she was the one that actually had the connection to Bob. And I love that she, leaned on faith and didn't know exactly what she was stepping into. Because baby, when I tell you, I thought the void was the doom, like the go to sleep, the dirt nap. That's what I thought that was. I had no idea it was a whole Freddy Krueger, Nightmare on Elm Street. I didn't know that's what we.
Scarlet Witch. That's what it was. It was Scarlet Witch.
That's where they was going with that. So I thought that was so creative, so creative. I enjoyed it.
I did too, and the only thing, my only drawback, when you have these characters that are so powerful, as a person who's been into the comics and the cartoons my whole life, it starts to become monotonous for me that the way you have to defeat these characters, or the way that they have to be defeated, is that they have to defeat themselves, which is what happened here, or you defeat them by sending them into some kind of damn void. That shit right there is getting old for me. I'm ready for ass whipping. Get somebody who is as strong as they are. Use their intelligence to come up with a way to whip their ass. Don't send them into a void. Yeah. Don't let the character have a part of him where he feels like I can't hold back or I got to tone myself down. That is the only drawback I have to this movie. Because it was a good movie. Overall, it was a good movie. But that would be my only nitpick criticism, because the acting was fantastic. The writing was fantastic. You handled a dark issue, which is mental health. You had great characters. You had good story arc. You showed us, I wish you would have showed us the Sentry, not the Void, the Sentry a little more, so that we could have really seen the accommodation of all this power. We know he's fast. We know he can fly. We know he's got telekinesis, and we know he's got heat vision. Well, put him out in the world and go against like maybe a medium level MCU threat, so that we can see the good part of the Sentry versus the Void. But I guess we'll have to wait for that. But other than that, Nita, that was my only nitpick. I'm tired of, you have a character that's so powerful, the only creative way you can think to defeat him is he's got to defeat himself, or you got to send him into some void.
Yeah, and they are leaning into that in these later phases. They've been leaning into this whole void and this whole juxtaposition, like, I see what you're saying with that. With me, I'm okay with that, because I understand that could, that is real, like for real. But in the ensemble cast, I feel like we had a little bit more opportunity to explore everyone else's. This was very Yelena focused. Like even when they went into the Nightmare on Elm Street, the rooms and all that stuff, like it was very Yelena centered. I think I just wanted to maybe see a little bit more about Bucky, see a little bit more about Bob, and something. I'm not Ghosts. I'm not all that interested in. And then we also had a whole Disney series to do, the Temu Captain America. So we didn't need to see their journey. But I think I wanted to see a little bit more of other people, because for me, the whole congressman aspect of Bucky and how we got there, give me some more. I need a little bit more about how do we get from point A to point B. And I do want to say that about the pacing. It felt like there was a lot left on the cutting room floor. Like I felt like we kind of went somewhere, and I was like, well, hey, how did we get here? So I think that there was like something that they must have chopped out of the movie that kind of like it would have did better if we would have had it, but then of course people would have been like, it's too long. And
Right.
So,
Right. And they did chop out a lot. I was fine with the pacing. Bucky, I feel like they didn't show a lot of him because we already we know him. We're familiar with Val because of the series. We're familiar with Great Value because of the series. And we did have a movie with Yelena and David Harbour, but that movie was really about Black Widow, other Black Widow. So I'm fine with them picking Florence Pugh because she nailed this shit. Lord, she and David Harbour with his humor, he nailed it too. So I'm fine with the way they did it. Just my nitpick is the way they defeated each other. And for those of you that like to keep record of this stuff, I don't know why, because it's not like they're gonna give you none of the money. But the movie, as of this moment, has made $162 million worldwide at the box office. And now we play trivia. So we'll give Nita one guess. And audience, if you can think of it, you put something in the comments, let us know. So Nita, there has been one character, if you include the Disney Plus series too, that is as powerful or more powerful than Sentry in the MCU. One guess who it is. You probably forgot about it. And guess what? It's a her.
Captain Marvel.
Nope.
No.
Gaia. You remember Talos' daughter that got infused with the blood of all the Avengers and became the Super Skrull in the TV series?
I didn't watch all the TV scripts.
Oh, well, she's got the blood of the Fantastic Four. She's got the blood of Wolverine. She's got some of the blood of Professor X, some of the blood of Hulk, some of the blood of Thor. She's got all their powers wrapped up into one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I had never even heard of the name. Which
Gaia. This was the one. The last show Nick Fury was in.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasions. Yep. Because like you remember how you mentioned that we're going to have some issues with the Skrulls secretly invading Earth, because that was one of the biggest comment. We are going to get that, and you're not going to know.
No breadcrumbs though.
Well, because right now it's pedal to the metal for Avengers Doomsday, and I'm sure that whatever happens with Avengers Doomsday is going to lead you into the Skrulls, because the Skrulls have been having a war with basically all the universe forever, and they get into it with everybody. So eventually we're going to have people that are in Congress. You don't know if it's the real Bucky or if it's the Skrull Bucky, that type thing. And technically the Super Skrull is supposed to be a villain, but with it being Talos' daughter, I don't know how they're going to play that. And that character can go toe-to-toe with Sentry right now as we speak. Okay. But for those of you that want to really geek out and want to know the history of the comics, people that Sentry has gone toe-to-toe with that have actually been able to either stalemate him or beat his ass. No was one. World War Hulk. If we ever get World War Hulk, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. It's going to, because let me tell you, Nita, what he had to go through to get to that particular planet, and the way it affected his body and amped up his power level, because he has no cap on his power. But what happens is he starts out with a certain level, and the more you make him mad, the stronger he gets. When he went through space and all these wormholes and that stuff almost killed him, it made his power level grow every time he had to regenerate himself back.
Yes.
And so his normal level is like him raised out times 10. And when he got to Earth to come back and get the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the mutants that sent him to space, he was not having that shit. So they had to pull out Sentry on him. And got to be more careful. They went to they punched each other and half the Earth cracked apart.
That's another thing that I wanted a little bit more closure on. Like I felt like y'all got this powerful man, Bob, got the power of a god just sitting there doing dishes. Like, can we try to explore? Like, can we?
That's what I'm saying.
Explore how to keep
Right.
this man under control, how to understand what all he's doing. Like, and then also too, I think Valentina, she could be a scroll as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like anybody can be. Anybody
Absolutely. Absolutely, Val can be a scroll. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, there are 2 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
And the one that the first one is David Harbour wanting people to know he's a hero in the Wheaties box. That ain't nothing. The one you want to see is the last one when they introduce the Fantastic Four, who has come from their Earth. And the only thing I can think of why they will be coming to this Earth from theirs is because Galactus done defeated their ass and ate their planet. And they came to warn us that this planet-eating thing is coming. So, Nita, that's another thing that Sentry really can't beat. He cannot beat the Celestials. He really can't beat Galactus. And there was a fight that he had with Gladiator. And I don't know if you know who Gladiator is, but in the X-Men lore, the Shatari is a group of people that came to Earth to kill Phoenix. And Professor X fell in love with their queen. And her bodyguard was called Gladiator. Basically, he has the power of Superman, except for he don't have the eye beam. He went toe-to-toe with Sentry, but eventually got that ass beat. I mean, Sentry is that dude. And pretty much, man, in the comics, that's all you've seen of people that can really put a hurting on Sentry. You've got, like I said, you've got Galactus, not the Eternals, but the World War Hulk, and Null. That's it.
Dr. Doom? No, he can't hold it.
No.
He's just smart.
Well, at one point in time, Dr. Doom did get the Infinity Gauntlet. And if you got the gauntlet, then yeah, you can beat him.
Right.
Yeah, you can beat him. But other than that, no, you can't beat him. And I think what they're going to do is hold Bob. They're going to keep Bob a secret until Doomsday. And then when we see how Dr. Doom plays whatever he's going to do evil, he might even try to team up with Galactus for all we know and try to use Galactus. That's when they're going to have to call Sentry.
Okay. Where I thought they were going with that whole post-credit scene, I thought that maybe because we're talking about the multiverse and incursions and how things were getting so crazy in the multiverse, I thought maybe it was an incursion that caused the whole their planet being destroyed and them trying to go intergalactic and all that stuff. So that's where I thought they were going with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I wouldn't be surprised when we see the Fantastic Four that they wind up having to leave their planet as Galactus is finishing destroying and eating the magnetic core. 100%. And they come into Earth to warn us.
So
that's what I'm thinking.
Galactus is something similar to that that thing that was coming out of Earth that they had
the Celestial.
Yeah.
The Celestial. He's similar to that, except for he doesn't need a Infinity Stone to work.
Oh, okay.
And remember, like I said, some of the only things that could beat Sentry are the Celestials.
Okay.
And Galactus is a giant like them, and in order to survive, he has to eat planets. He needs the energy of planets to survive. He is bigger than the Celestials. Picture that.
Yeah.
He is as ancient as the Celestials, and he didn't start out big. He just kept getting big. He's as ancient as the Celestials, and at this point in time, he's bigger than the Celestials.
And that's where I was kind of disappointed with the Celestials, because I felt like their power and their subset should have been so much more dynamic than what they showed us. Like, it felt like they were just like, yes, regular Avengers. Like they did not feel all powerful like I wanted them to feel. Like
you talking about the Eternals?
The Eternals, yeah.
Okay.
All of the different Eternals. They're not Celestials, or the Celestials. big thing that comes up out the
the Celestials is the big things that come out of the earth.
Okay. So the Eternals, yeah, I just thought that they would be a little bit more powerful. So that was my thing about the Eternals. That kind of disappointed me. It felt like it was an imbalance there as well.
No, that's how they are in the comics too. That's how they are. And you know, dealing with the Celestials, when Marvel is probably just kicking the can down the road when you have to start talking about these God level powerful creatures, because it's like, how do you really wrap the story up? And I basically say you wrap the story up similar to what they did in the comics. You let some of these mofos die. Like you just get really, really creative in having people that can go toe to toe with whatever their power level is, and then you put a creative story in which they get suckered somehow into having to die. That's how you do it. But give us a big infinite battle before they die type of thing, and which is what they did with World War Hope. And I don't want to spoil that because, man, we get that story. I mean, let me tell you something, y'all. When they give us World War Hulk, not only do he go on his planet and kick ass to get back to Earth, he beats, you name a hero on Earth, Nita, he whips their ass, including Thor.
Thor, too. Okay.
Including Thor, all the Fantastic Four, every X-Man, not to mention the way he just basically handled Juggernaut.
Right.
And then finally, when all else fails, they call in Sentry, and they almost basically go to a stalemate, but they give the nod a little bit to the Hulk.
Okay.
That man won't plan. You try to kill him, send him away, and then you try to hurt his children. That man won't plan. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for me and the Diva. Be sure to post your comments. Her link is in video description. Nita, tell the good people what you've got going on your channel this week.
Yes. Got a review of Raising Kanan. The latest episode came on Friday, so that is up there for your enjoyment. Also, to join me and Lamont and the rest of the crew tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and we're going to be breaking it down as well. Only the only way that Lamont can do it. You know, Lamont, he is priceless with this breaking down Raising Kanan and the Power Universe. And so I had some reality TV, some Real Housewives of Atlanta, some Never Ever Mets, you know, little things I'm thinking about doing and stuff like that. But just go ahead, turn on your notifications, subscribe. I appreciate Lamont having me on this platform. And yeah, I hope to see y'all in the comments.
Definitely subscribe to her channel. I will be here with them. And it's a lively crew tomorrow whenever we do them power thing. Boy, y'all just be tripping, boy. It's going to be fun. We'll be doing that. And then on Tuesday night, I'll be up here with Moochie to talk a little bit of Godfather Harlem, this last episode, which is one of the best shows y'all probably missing out on because of the network it's playing on. Don't let that network fool you. It's a great show. And then stay tuned for all the political content I'm doing. Y'all seem to finally done come around and eating your veggies to go with your dessert, because what is going on with the person we have as leadership is hurting everybody who's not got a B behind their name. And we're trying to let you stay informed, understand how to navigate through it. This shit is affecting my wife, who is a doctor, and some of the way that doctors get paid is affecting them now. So it's important that you listen to this stuff, understand that I cite all my sources, and I try to give you guys some impactful information that you can use to do in your own community so that we can combat this bull jive. And stick with us. And until that next Sex is Hell video, y'all, we'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, Nita, that was a good